Whew, we won't be going into Liga in this video, but damn. Did you see that free kick Messi scored to win that 7-goal thriller for PSG against Lille? Wow. Nice free kick, but just the match in general was insane. Anyway, hi, I'm Adrian. England, Germany, Spain, and Italy all on deck as per usual. Vamos muchachos. Also, editor Adrian was sleeping on the job last week, but a happy new year to him. He finally made it to 2023, so welcome. To start, guys, condolences to the family of former Newcastle United, Chelsea, and Everton player Christian Atsu, who passed away as a consequence of the massive earthquake that struck in Turkey and Syria. It was originally reported that he was found a day or two after the earthquake that occurred on February 6th, but that was some very faulty reporting. It was confirmed this weekend that tragically he didn't make it. So all the best to his family, friends, and those who supported him. Terrible news. Newcastle, by the way, hosted Liverpool this past weekend, and 2 goals in 7 minutes from Darwin Núñez and Cody Gakpo gave Liverpool the 2-0 lead without even 20 minutes gone at St. James's Park. And with Nick Pope, the Newcastle United keeper, getting a red card in the 22nd minute, it was game over at that point, really. To be honest, it was a pretty funny red, as you could see the panic, the failed header out of the box, falls on the ball and handles it, then clatters his own defender in the process. I mean, unfortunate for them, but hilarious for me. 2-0 the final there. Much needed win against one of the top teams. After impressing at the Camp Nou against Barcelona in the Europa League, Manchester United looked just a little bit limp in their first half against Leicester at Old Trafford. They leaned upon David De Gea pretty heavily in that first half, with this save on Iheanacho in the 20th minute being the standout for me. Full stretch to get a hand on that attempt from about 6 yards out. However, Marcus Rashford continued his ridiculous form with a goal in each half, pace, power, and the best finishing in his entire career, really, in this moment. Bruno and Sancho also played a beautiful give and go that Sancho finished off. His confidence seems to be coming back quite nicely now. 3-0 United, and they could have had many, many more in that second half. Martinez hit the bar. Weghorst was looking pretty cursed out there, still searching for his first Premier League goal for United. They were overdoing it, trying to get him a goal at the end. They're almost overplaying it in some ways. Arsenal had to twice come from behind in order to get a win away to Aston Villa. Wknd, their nemesis, put Villa ahead after just 5 minutes, which felt like an uh-oh moment for Arsenal, given their recent struggles. However, Saka pulled one back only for Coutinho to put Villa back on top, but that was all they could muster. That clinicality they had in the first half, 2 goals from 2 attempts on target for Villa, that evaded them in the second half as Arsenal absolutely dominated them. Could have scored 3 or 4 goals for sure. They hit the woodwork twice. One of them did end up going in, but anyway. Zinchenko hit a thunderbolt in the 60th minute to draw level, and they had to wait for the match winner. What a bizarre one it was. Jorginho almost with a worldie, but it cannoned off the bar and hit Martinez on the back of the head and went in. Minutes later, they doubled their lead as Fabio Vieira set up Martinelli in the 98th minute. Martinez was forward for a corner kick. Arsenal countered, and Martinelli celebrated before he even scored, as you can see here. 4-2 Arsenal, their first win in 4 matches across all competitions. Fulham and Brighton had a great battle, 2 teams vying for that Conference League spot. Fulham got the best of Brighton away to the Seagulls, with Manor Solomon finishing off a devastating counter in the 88th minute. Messy play from both sides prior, but a clean finish. 2 goals in 6 Premier League appearances for Solomon now. Sean Dyche is a magician. They beat Arsenal, lost away to Liverpool, as Everton always do at Anfield, and now they have defeated Leeds United. 2 wins from 3 for Dyche and Everton as they look to evade relegation. A bit of a surprise this weekend, in some respects at least, as the great form of Wolves was stopped by Bournemouth, a team that looks like they could be heading back to the championship, at this moment at least. Will be amazing to see if the Cherries can avoid relegation. That would be a great story. Speaking of which, Southampton are another club that seems destined for the drop, but even they could get a victory over Chelsea. Yes, most Chelsea supporters have written off this season already as far as expectations go, but surely they should not be losing to Southampton. That's crazy. Again, they were spurning chances for fun. João Felix should have scored, that is for sure, amongst others in this Chelsea 11. Not good enough. The same old same for them, really. 1-0 Southampton thanks to a lovely James Ward-Prowse free kick in the first half stoppage time. Saints, the team in 20th, get a win at Stamford Bridge. Bernardo Silva thought he had won the match for City potentially. Haaland He couldn't score, but an equalizer from good old Chris Wood, who fittingly plays for Forest right now, meant that match ended 1-1. City dropped points. Tottenham, they got a 2-0 win over West Ham United as Emerson Royale with cheese and substitute Heung-min Son got them the goals. That ensured Tottenham would jump over Newcastle into 4th in the standings, while at the very top, Arsenal's lead over City is by 2 points. Still with a match in hand. And don't count out United just yet. They are only 3 points behind Manchester City at the moment. Girona kicks the weekend off by absolutely embarrassing Almeria with a 6-2 drubbing. 6 goals, 6 goal scorers, and they even had one disallowed as Tati Castellanos thought he had made it 2-0. What a win. Those fellas are firmly mid-table at this point, Girona. They're looking decent. That's exactly where Celta will hope to be, given the slow start to the season they experienced, and they got an absolutely heroic draw away to Real Sociedad after going down 1-0 after just 5 minutes. Shout out Oyarzabal for the goal. Renato Tapia got himself sent off for Celta Vigo in the 75th minute, a foul, and then some dissent for the second yellow right after that. So tasty. Always love seeing one of your teammates or a player on your team get 2 yellows in a matter of seconds, eh? Always fills me with contempt. But yes, Celta absolutely in need of every point they can get a hold of, managed to get an equalizer in the 93rd minute as a squared ball into the box was misplayed by Lenormand and it went in his own goal. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Sociedad, by the way, they could have used those 3 points as well, as it would have kept them just a few points behind Real Madrid. So 1-1 the final there. Speaking of Real Madrid, they went away to Osasuna to play at El Sadar. Osasuna is a cool club, man. I've been learning a lot about them lately. But anyway, Vinicius was a man possessed in that second half for Real Madrid. And while Osasuna did their best to keep them at bay, Vini set up Valverde for what was the winner. Valverde, there are signs he is finding form again as he scored 3 in 2 matches at the Club World Cup and has now made it 4 goals in 4 matches for Real Madrid with that one against Osasuna. From there, the levy broke a bit. Vini had a goal called back, and later Asensio made it 2-0. Some big saves were required of Courtois in this match, however. It wasn't all plain sailing for Real Madrid. Real Betis started this season so well, lost their touch, but have recently found themselves again. Sergio Canales got an assist after 2 minutes in setting up Wanmi, and later scored from the spot in what was a 2-1 win for Real Betis. Those first half goals from Real Betis bookended Kyle Laren's goal for Real Valladolid. He has been on fire since joining Ronaldo's club. 3 goals and 4 appearances for the Canadian after he was a bench boy for Club Brugge previously, which is hard to understand. But I guess it just wasn't a fit, you know? What a crazy, crazy match between Mallorca and Villarreal. Quique Setien's side traveled to the lovely island and found themselves in an absolute scrap. This was a great advertisement for the league with how back and forth this was. After Tino Cadwere put the home side in front in the 20th minute, Manu Trigueros got himself sent off from the ensuing kickoff for taking a swing at his opponent. Brain dead stuff. That wasn't a good advertisement for the league. But the fight that Villarreal showed after that was. Despite being a man down, they twice equalized, but Mallorca jumped ahead by 2, and there was no coming back from that for Villarreal. 4-2 Mallorca, the final. And now to editor Adrian for Atletico's match, Barcelona's match, and our La Liga scores and standings. Take it away. And please, don't mess up this time.
Good morning. Editor Adrian here once again to hopefully not make a mistake. But yes, we had Atletico versus Athletic Bilbao from the Metropolitano Stadium on a very special day. You know, Atletico allowed Athletic to wear their red and white. Why? Because Atletico are sort of the baby brother club. And Athletic were celebrating their 125th anniversary. That is huge. Of course, Atletico was started by some Basque students as sort of a satellite club to Athletic Club. But anyway, getting away from ourselves here. Antoine Griezmann, he continues his great form this season. He scored what would be the winner in the 73rd minute to give Atletico that 1-0 win. You'll have to excuse my voice. I just woke up. We also had FC Barcelona playing at home against Cadiz. Sergio Roberto scoring in the 43rd minute. Then 3 minutes later, Robert Lewandowski set up by Sergio Roberto to make it 2-0. That was it on the day. Barcelona woulda, coulda, shoulda had more goals, but just the 2 to speak of, and 2 is enough. And in the standings, that ensures that they have an 8-point lead over Real Madrid, 16 points over Real Sociedad, which is pretty crazy. Definitely is just a 2-horse race this season, unless something crazy happens, unless Atletico, Real Sociedad, etc. can really put a big push to close out this season, and Barcelona starts to stumble a little bit. But as of now, Barcelona with just one loss. So it's hard to picture, isn't it? Especially with that defensive record. 7 goals conceded in 22 matches. Best defense in the league by a long shot at this point.
Well. With Dayot Upamecano getting himself sent off away to Borussia Mönchengladbach, it was always going to be a very difficult match for Bayern. I mean, they had already taken away a big part of why they have struggled against Gladbach in the past. Jan Sommer. But throwing the red card after just 8 minutes, it's difficult again. Jonas Hoffmann, what a player this guy has been in the last couple of years. He set up Gladbach's first to make it 1-0, scored their second to take them 2-1 up, and assisted Marcus Thuram to help make it 3-1. Bayern would indeed get another goal late to make the scoreline very respectable at 3-2, respectable all things considered, but it still left an opportunity for Union to take the lead on Sunday, and would they take the lead? Playing at home against Schalke, you'd expect Union to do the damn thing, but they rotated their squad a little bit as Urs Fischer must have had an eye on the second leg in the Europa League at home against Ajax this Thursday. They paid for it, as they could only manage a 0-0 draw with Schalke. Very disappointing, as they could have gone 2 points ahead of Bayern with a victory. The up and down roller coaster of form from Wolfsburg continued as they were dealt with quite handily by RB Leipzig in their own stadium. Forsberg got the opener for Marco Rosa. However, perhaps the most exciting bit for Leipzig supporters would be that Christopher Nkunku is back. He made his first appearance since November 12th of last year, and in the 85th minute, he set up Konrad Laimer to make it 2-0. Szoboszlai, he got the third, and if he can stay healthy and in form alongside the likes of Laimer and Nkunku, wow, watch out for these guys, man. Eintracht Frankfurt bounced back from last weekend's disappointing 3-0 loss to Köln with a 2-0 win over Werder Bremen. Bremen are only consistent in the fact that they have an absolute aversion to draws. They are allergic to them. They're either winning games or losing them, as they haven't had a draw since September 17th. But anyway, of course, Randall Kolo Muani got the winner for Frankfurt to take his tally up to 15 goals and 14 assists from 30 appearances across all competitions, which is just amazing from him. SC Freiburg have finally strung 2 Bundesliga wins together for the first time since the end of October. This weekend, they beat Bochum away with Gregoritsch and Holler scoring. That was Gregorich's 8th goal of the Bundesliga season, so I wanted to look into this. He's on track to break his Bundesliga goal-scoring record, which is 13 goals from back in 2018 with Augsburg. Borussia Dortmund hosted Hertha, and Karim Adeyemi was absolutely incredible. Now that he's found form, watch out for him. The goal he scored was just ridiculous. You have to see it. The skill to spin and finish like that, amazing. And 4 minutes later, he set up Daniel Malin to make it 2-0 Dortmund at the Signal Iduna Park. But Adeyemi unfortunately went off injured a few minutes later. But there was quite the bobble from Borussia Dortmund at the beginning of the second half, but all of those nerves were put to bed with Marco Reus converting a great free kick, and finally Julian Brandt continuing his sharp form this season with a goal in the 90th minute to make it 4-1, and that moved Borussia Dortmund level with both Union and Bayern at the top of the table. Look at this. Isn't this insane? Not to mention Freiburg are just 3 points behind them, with Leipzig and Frankfurt circling as well. The Bundesliga is truly delivering on a title race at the moment. Napoli are repeating storylines at this point. Their writers are getting lazy. They got a 2-0 win over Sassuolo, and guess who scored? Kvaratskhelia and Victor Osimhen. Nothing new there, but hey, don't let that take away from what they are achieving on the pitch and in the standings. With that win on Friday, they were temporarily 18 points above second place Inter, and that's an insane achievement for them. Speaking of Inter, they beat Udinese 3-1 this weekend, in which we saw something we haven't seen in a while now. Romelu Lukaku scoring a goal. Lukaku converted a penalty to open the scoring for Inter, which was his first Serie A goal since August 13th, which is insane to think about. That was against Lecce, I believe. Pesky Udinese drew level before the break, but Inter stepped it up a gear in the second half and were completely dominant as Mkhitaryan finished off an Inter attack. Take nothing away from the finish, but questions to be asked of the defending, namely Isaac Success, who was a bit nonchalant until it was too late for him and his fellow defenders. Finally, 2 minutes after Lautaro Martinez made an absolute mess of his chip when he was one-on-one, he redeemed himself with a nice touch to evade the defender and then smash it into the corner past the keeper. 3-1 Inter. Lazio got their first win after a 4-match winless run as they beat Salernitana 2-0 away thanks to a brace from Ciro Immobile. Oh, how they have missed this guy and his goals, eh? These were his first in Serie A since January 4th, though he did score in the Conference League last week as a nice little warm-up to this weekend. Maybe the biggest surprise of the weekend was seeing Lecce beat Atalanta, as Lecce are such a mystifying team, not an automatic points team in the slightest, as they have proven once again as they beat Atalanta away, by the way. They've taken points whether the full 3 or just 1 from matches against Roma, Milan, Napoli. They've actually done the double over Atalanta this season as well. AC Milan are becoming the 1-0 team, but you gotta go with what works, right? This weekend they went away to Monza, and Junior Messias got what was the eventual winner for them in that first half. Milan should have had more goals, far more based on their first half performance. And man, if Monza had drawn level in that second half, they would have been kicking themselves. Milan had to weather a late storm from Monza, but hold on for their third consecutive 1-0 win across all competitions. That's more like it from them, as they put that losing streak behind them now, but definitely still room for improvement going forward. Vincenzo Italiano magic is no more. Fiorentina drew 1-1 at home against Empoli, which has got to be frustrating considering how good they were away to Braga midweek. They are winless in 6 matches in Serie A now, which is not good enough. Angel Di Maria scored from distance away to Spezia as he made it 2-0 Juve in the second half. While the direction of the strike was nice, it didn't have the amount of power on it where you would understand how the keeper didn't save it. Really thought Dragowski should have done much better for that strike. While Perin had to make a couple of decent saves towards the end of the match, Juve were deserving winners here. 2-0, Kostic setting up Keane for the first one. And editor Adrian has you covered for AS Roma, the scores, and the standings. Take it away, man.
Yes, back again. So, AS Roma got a win against Hellas Verona with Ola Solbakken, the Norwegian, getting what was the game winner in the 45th minute right on the stroke of halftime, assisted by Spinazzola, the star of Euro 2020 for Italy, wasn't he? It did come at a cost, Tammy Abraham going off in the 15th minute, but 1-0 win. Gini Wijnaldum came on, which you love to see. He's had a hard time with injury since joining AS Roma. And taking a quick look at the standings here, as mentioned, Napoli are just way ahead, 15 points above Inter. Roma are now in third, tied on points with AC Milan. Lazio, they are in 5th with 42 points and Atalanta 41. Juventus, despite the point deduction, they're climbing back up. They are in 7th currently.
All right, everyone. Thanks again to editor Adrian for all that he does and for providing some gaffes in the edit now and then. Champions League this week, as well as some roots of the rivalry. We'll see you then.